What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my top 10 running backs in the 2019 NFL Draft. A quick reminder, no film in this video for copyright reasons, but if you do want to see some of my film breakdowns, you can get that on my Patreon, where you can also get access to my draft board with full profiles on every player on the draft so you can know what you're talking about and impress your friends. Also, a quick reminder, hit that like button if you enjoy the video, enjoy my content, want to support the channel. It's the easiest way to do that. So let's get into it here, starting at the top, Josh Jacobs out of Alabama. I do want to talk about the class as a whole first before we talk about the individual players. I will say I don't think this class is quite as good as the last couple of years. I think we've been a little spoiled getting like 4 or 5 starters or more out of the last couple draft classes. I think there are a couple starters to come out of this class, but I do think it's kind of changed the league framework just a little bit. For one, a lot of teams just already have starting running backs. There's not a lot of teams looking for starters right now, so I do think a lot of these guys that might have first or second round grades could get pushed into the second, third, fourth round. And I think also just having seen the last couple classes, having seen like a Phillip Lindsay, Aaron Jones being 6th round picks and undrafted guys that have really become good starters in this league, teams are even more aware, not that they weren't before, but of the fact that taking a running back early does come with a bit of an opportunity cost, considering you can get starters later in the draft at running back. At most other positions, it's incredibly difficult to find impact players. So I do think we'll see some of these guys getting pushed down more than their actual grade might indicate. So let's talk about Josh Jacobs. Just kind of passes the eye test. He is, I think, the consensus number one. I don't think you're going to get a lot of disagreement on this one. I know some people really like David Montgomery. Those Iowa State truthers between him and Hakeem Butler are very strong out there. I'm not quite as high on either of those guys. But Jacobs just kind of has that feature back look and feel about him. He can make you miss. He has elite one-cut vision. He has just a great jump cut, which I think is the most underrated asset for a running back. I don't think a lot of running backs have elite jump cuts. You know, Saquon Barkley really comes to mind. Josh Jacobs does show flashes of Saquon with that jump cut, but he can power it up between the trenches. He was a trusted, 4th and 1 wildcat option for this Alabama team later in the season. Another nice thing about Josh Jacobs is he doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires. Now, he did just get hurt for this pre-draft process and did not run the best 40, so he's not exactly helping his stock in the pre-draft, but neither are a lot of other running backs necessarily. So assuming he can get over this injury that he's suffering right now, he's a guy that I think is going to have a longer shelf life than maybe some of these other guys who had about 1,000 carries in college. Josh Jacobs only had about 300 or 300 or 400, So I really like Josh Jacobs. I don't know if I would take him in the first round. I just think the opportunity cost is too much to take any running back in the first. I know it's paid off for some teams in the past, but we've also seen it backfire with guys like Leonard Fournette, Rashad Penny last year, another one. So I just mocked Josh Jacobs in the middle of the second round of Philadelphia. He'll probably go earlier. That was more of a how late I would wait to take a running back. And most of the teams before him just kind of had a guy. I could see like Tampa Bay in the second might be a good fit for Josh Jacobs too, at like the 37th pick, I think it is. So let's move on and talk about Darryl Henderson. Really like Darryl Henderson. He was actually my number 1 guy before Josh Jacobs kind of, hit the radar late in the season. And Henderson was a redshirt sophomore, a bit of a surprise declaree, but I think that was a good decision for him. We saw like Bryce Love last year stayed. It hurt him. I think these running backs, if you can get your money, if you're going to get drafted, just come out. So Henderson's a guy that a lot of people want to compare to like Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, kind of a better receiver almost than a runner, but does have that home run threat ability. I think he is his own kind of unique player. I don't see as much Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt. I think his lateral quickness, his ability to make people miss is a little underwhelming. And not that it's bad, he just didn't quite make as many guys miss as I had hoped he would. But what he does have that guys like Kamara and Kareem Hunt don't necessarily have is really elite breakaway speed. He can be a real nice like wheel route deep threat in the receiving game or just run up the seam. And then, of course, if you get him on a stretch run or an open hole up the middle, he can take off. Now, he doesn't have a lot of power between the trenches. He's a thick dude. In one-on-one situations, he can kind of shrug off tackles. He's got good balance. He is similar to like Kareem Hunt in that way. But I don't really see him like pushing piles on like 4th and 2 and being like an elite back in that situation. So he's kind of his own unique player. I think he's going to be a really nice impact for a team that wants a versatile running back that can run but also catch the ball as well. Then we got Myles Sanders here, number 3. He's kind of the flashy high upside pick. My comparison for him is Kerryon Johnson, who kind of did the same thing last year, really impressed people in the pre-draft process. A similar physical profile here for Myles Sanders. So he's a little more raw, a guy that didn't necessarily have the spotlight in college, though he did produce. His best trait is just making people miss and kind of shrugging off tackles, making people take bad angles that make them whiff. And you can really see the lateral quickness and acceleration that showed in his combine scores. He does have good speed as well, but you do question like his vision, his power. You're definitely projecting upside here if you take Myles Sanders in the 2nd or 3rd round, but more often than not, I feel like these really good athletes just kind of work out at the next level. So I really like Myles Sanders. And then number 4, kind of the opposite player here, David Montgomery. He's just kind of a nasty, polished power back. He's got a decent amount of tread on the tires. My comparison for him is James Conner. I think it's perfect because Conner actually proved that he can be a good receiving threat as well, despite kind of a lack of desirable, running back physical traits in terms of burst and quickness. But Montgomery's just a mauler. He's got the grit you want. You know exactly what you're getting, but I don't know if you get that super high upside in him either. So he's really one of the safer players in this entire draft. I think that's what a lot of people like about him, and I'm not going to fault you for that. I tend to like more of the upside in some of the other guys we've already talked about. I could see Montgomery having a really nice, 7-year career, getting to that 2nd contract, but I don't know if he's always going to be a starter in that run either. Then at number 5, we've got Rodney Anderson. Intriguing player here, really nice athlete. Has the ideal size you look for. 6 feet, 224 is like right in my ballpark that I like. And he's got the athleticism you look for at that size. He catches the ball extremely well. And maybe part of that is just playing with really good quarterbacks in that system, but he does make some really nice catches and is a good route runner for a running back. The biggest question with him is going to be durability. He's had a harder time staying healthy at Oklahoma, but he's a powerful dude. He's got a little shiftiness to him, good balance. My comparison is Spencer Ware, who also has just kind of broken down, but in his prime, Spencer Ware was a really good quality starter in the NFL. And then number 6, Damien Harris. Now he's one of the more well-known names in this class, and he's kind of similar to David Montgomery. I feel like you kind of know what you're getting in him. His play style is a lot different, though. He's more of a good receiver, and then as a runner, he's pretty balanced. He can run with some power. He's got some good patience at times. He can be shifty. I just don't know if he has any elite traits. He is kind of like TJ Yeldon in that way. My comparison for him is Bilal Powell. I see a guy that can be a starter, but is probably best served as your number 2 running back, who can be a really nice relief pitcher and can be a decent starter as well if your main guy goes down. Then number 7, Bryce Love. He's another really big name out of this class, and he's going to be an ooh and ah guy when he comes off the board, and we don't really know when it's going to be. He's coming off an ACL injury, so we don't know if he's going to be able to contribute much as a rookie. You would think he will be pretty much fully healthy come like October, but he's probably not going to be able to practice a whole lot, which is important for these rookies to get those reps, especially for a guy like Love who's going to be a good receiving threat, to get those reps with the quarterback and understand the passing game. But the upside here with Bryce Love is pretty crazy. If he would have come out last year, he very well might have been a first-round pick, graded higher than guys like Rashad Penny or Sony Michel. Just a super explosive dude. He actually carries a lot in his legs, which you like to see. That leads to some good balance, the ability to break tackles. He's a really good receiver and can, of course, make you miss as well. So you're getting a really high upside pick, but a smaller dude and is coming off that ACL injury. I love the Aaron Jones comparison for him. Aaron Jones, a very similar body type, but also a guy that has struggled to stay healthy at the next level and in college because of that kind of thinner frame. But if you can get him to stay healthy, just like the Packers have with Aaron Jones as of late, you could be getting a big steal here and a quality starter on day 3 of the draft. And myself, I'm willing to take that risk a little higher than I think might actually happen in 2 weeks from today, by the way. So pumped. So number 8 here, a bit of a surprise, Darwin Thompson out of Utah State. He's kind of the shifty, smaller school scat back type that comes out and kind of gets drafted. Not all the people that aren't, total draft junkies don't necessarily know who he is, but then he comes in and he's just an impact right away. I see that in Darwin Thompson. Now, you're going to want people to have him be the next Tariq Cohen. I don't know if he's the next Tariq Cohen. I don't know if he's quite as fast and shifty. I see another Thompson, Chris Thompson, being the comparison for him. Super smooth receiver. He is shifty, but he's a little heavier. He does have experience running between the tackles, so it's not a total giveaway that it's going to be a pass when he's on the field, which is nice. He's definitely a quicker than fast type, but I really like his game, and if you need a running back that can catch the ball out of the backfield, I think 3rd to 4th round, these receiving backs are very valuable in the NFL right now, and I really like what you'd be getting in Darwin Thompson. Number 9, Mike Weber. I don't necessarily love him. He just is kind of solid all around, so he grades out as running back 9. I do think you kind of know what you're getting with him. He's got really good straight line speed. Not really going to make you miss, but he can run you over or run away from you. Decent between the tackles. We've got a good track record with Ohio State running backs working out in the NFL as well. My comparison for him is Isaiah Crowell. Guy that could be a starter, could be a backup. You kind of know what you're getting. Pretty solid athlete, and that's really all I have to say about Mike Weber. Not a whole lot stands out for me with him. And then number 10, Justus Hill. He's perhaps the most explosive running back in this group. Now, he's kind of similar to Darryl Henderson in that he didn't show quite the lateral ability, the ability to make people miss as I had hoped to see from him. I think that might be why he gets pushed down the boards a little bit, but a really smooth receiver. He can run a little bit as well. My comparison is Austin Eckler, running back for the Chargers, who's a really good, impactful relief guy for Melvin Gordon. I think Justus Hill can be a very similar type of player at the next level. So that's going to do it. Excited to hear from you guys in the comments what you guys think. As always, there's going to be some people that are pissed that I left their guys off my top 10. It's just the way I grade these guys out. It's not that I hate anyone that I left out, or even necessarily that I wouldn't take other guys over these guys. It's really about what you're looking for and what kind of fits you need. If you need more of a traditional running back, you're probably going to take other guys over Justus Hill and Thompson. But regardless, reminder, hit that like button if you enjoyed. Cheers as always, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.